In 1888, Dr. José Rizal made his first visit to the United States. His journey began on April 28 when he arrived in San Francisco aboard the steamer Belgic. Upon arrival, Rizal and the other passengers were detained on board for a week due to a supposed cholera epidemic. Rizal suspected that this quarantine was politically motivated, particularly in light of the anti-Chinese sentiment and the enforcement of the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which was prevalent at the time. On May 4, 1888, after a week of confinement, Rizal was finally allowed to go ashore. He registered at the Palace Hotel in San Francisco, where he paid $4 for lodging. He stayed there until May 6 before beginning his transcontinental journey across the United States. On May 6, Rizal traveled from Oakland to Port Costa, taking a train ferry to Benicia. He had a dinner in Sacramento and spent the night on a couch in the train. The following day, he had breakfast in Reno, Nevada, costing him 75 cents. Reno, already glamorized as the biggest little city in the world, presented a barren landscape of sand and bare mountains, a stark contrast to the tropical environment Rizal was accustomed to. On May 8, Rizal passed through Ogden, Utah, observing young Mormon men and noting the predominance of women in restaurants. He admired the snow-capped mountains in the distance, which reminded him of Talim Island near his hometown. As the train moved from Ogden to Denver, he noted the changing time zones and the sparse yet striking landscapes. On May 9, Rizal woke up in Colorado, where he remarked on the presence of more trees compared to the previous states. He also experienced an unpleasant encounter with a porter on the Pullman car. By May 10, Rizal was in Nebraska, describing it as a plain state. In Omaha, he marveled at the Missouri River, comparing it to the Pasig River in the Philippines. On May 11, Rizal reached Chicago. Although he did not stay long, he observed the unique way tobacco shops advertised with statues of Native Americans, each different from the next. The following day, May 12, Rizal visited the Niagara Falls from the Canadian side. While impressed by its grandeur, he compared it to the Falls of Los Baños, finding the latter more beautiful despite Niagara's imposing size. On May 13, Rizal arrived in Albany, New York, and admired the beauty of the Hudson River. His transcontinental journey concluded in New York City, where he stayed at the Fifth Avenue Hotel. On May 16, 1888, Rizal departed the United States aboard the City of Rome, bound for Liverpool, England. As the ship sailed past the Statue of Liberty, Rizal's brief but eventful American journey came to an end. José Rizal's travel to the United States in 1888 had a profound impact on his worldview and writings. During his journey, Rizal observed the material wealth, power, and imperialistic ambitions of America. He was particularly struck by the stark contrast between the country's economic progress and the racial discrimination faced by Chinese and Black people. Rizal's observations were not merely superficial. While he acknowledged America's cities, industries, and natural beauty, he was deeply critical of the lack of racial equality, believing that the freedoms offered by the country were accessible only to its white citizens. He noted the discriminatory treatment of the Chinese and Black populations, expressing disappointments that the promise of America did not extend to all its inhabitants. These experiences influenced Rizal's writings, particularly his essay, The Philippines, A Century Hence, where he predicted that American expansionism would eventually reach the Philippines, a prediction that came true with the arrival of Commodore George Dewey and the U.S. Navy's 3rd Asiatic Squadron in Manila Bay on May 1, 1898. Rizal's time in the United States underscored his belief in reform and assimilation as reflected in his broader body of work, which continued to critique social injustices and advocate for the rights of the oppressed.